who likes Liverpool and who's a fan of Liverpool, we are disappointed for him leaving, because not only a good human being is leaving the club, but a very, very, very good fullback is leaving us as well. But I also worked at clubs like AZ Alkmaar and Feyenoord, where every season a very good or multiple very good players have left the club. So I'm a bit more used to it, maybe, that players leaving the club, and the experience I have, and by the way this club as well, that if a very good player is leaving, the next very good player will step up, and that's probably what's going to happen now again as well.
What about the situation, though, about him possibly leaving the club ahead of his contract expiring so as he can play in the Club World Cup? Can you tell us what the club's thoughts are on that? Is that potentially likely to happen?
Do you know where he's going then?
We understand that the direction of travel is Real Madrid.
Okay. No, he hasn't said anything about it himself. The only thing he said is that he's going to leave the club. So for me, it's impossible to comment on where he's going, and if that is a club that is going to play in the Club World Cup. You see on my smile and that we both know where he's going to, but it hasn't been said yet. So that's impossible for me to comment on.
Made this interesting game-on-game, Jamie, and again, Arne Slot spoke about the responsibility he has to try and get results as Liverpool manager. So does he play against Brighton next Monday? And for the title party here on the final day, does he also play in that?
He doesn't have to get results right now. The title's won. What I would say is, I think, a little bit like me, I think the manager would have been a little bit shocked by how vociferous it was. I think you can expect frustration, a little bit of disappointment. I think the best thing Liverpool supporters can do, if Trent Alexander-Arnold does play another game for Liverpool, because I still think that's up in the air, that might be his last performance. And that might actually be the right thing. Because Liverpool don't need a circus between now and the end of the season. You know, because this is the story of the game now. But if you're frustrated with Trent, sing Conor Bradley's name, sing Steven Gerrard's name, as was just mentioned in the interview. Don't boo a player, because it just leaves you open to criticism from everybody up and down the land about Liverpool supporters. When you're actually seeing the scenes here 2 weeks ago, you've probably never seen scenes anywhere in the country like that from when a team win the title. That's what Liverpool supporters, in my mind, are about. That wasn't representative of them, and I don't like to think of them as like that, but it was a fact. It happened tonight. So I think if Trent does continue to play, and that's also something the manager's got to think about, because he doesn't need this circus or this talk about Trent. He's moving on. He's left the football club.
Does he not deserve that moment, though? Certainly on the last day here, to be part of that group that plays in the last game here, to get his hands on the trophy?
Yes, of course he does, but he doesn't need to come on the pitch. Everyone will come on the pitch at the end of the game. He doesn't need to be brought on. You know, and I've said before, it's not about a send-off or nothing like that. I mean, he's choosing to leave. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that today. But I don't think there should be a thing where he's, you know, giving this big thing at the end of the season, or he's giving a microphone to give a big speech in front of the crowd. He's choosing to leave the football club, and that's why the frustration's there. That, for me, was a step too far. Sing other players' names. Don't boo a player who's wearing the Liverpool shirt on the pitch.
Can I just ask you, you're a local lad, what does it mean to play for Liverpool? Obviously, he's been there for, 20 years now, and it seems a little bit different with Liverpool. You know, the support you have, the trophies that you've won, but it's just become a story that's gone on and on and on. Is this because he is a local lad?
That is it all for me about him being a local player. And what you've got to remember is Liverpool as a city sees themselves, and not just Liverpool Football Club, Liverpool as the city is almost us against the Wales or us against the rest of the country. And the Liverpool supporters think that playing for Liverpool is the utmost. And when you're a local player like Trent is, like I was, you can't see yourself as bigger than the club, or you've almost got to not sacrifice yourself for the club. You're playing for Liverpool, it's a great honour, but you can never be seen to be almost bigger than the club or better than the club. And I always felt when I was playing, and I wanted to be a one-club man, I was determined to be that, but I always think, how do you leave Liverpool? So you can either leave by going to something better. Liverpool supporters are not going to be happy about that, because again, it's like, this is our utmost, this is our ultimate, nothing is better than Liverpool. And also, once I was going to stay, was how do I leave? How long do I stay? Now, I was offered a contract, an extra year at Liverpool, and I turned it down. And the reason I turned it down was because I was a local player playing for Liverpool, because I didn't want to anger or upset the supporters, because I didn't think I was good enough to play for Liverpool every week or 25, 30 games a season in that last season. And I just said, I've got to get out. I don't want Liverpool supporters going to the game and turning up and thinking Jamie Carragher's playing and thinking, oh, I couldn't do that. Now, if I was playing for someone else, if I was playing for Aston Villa, if I was playing for Tottenham or Newcastle, another club in the Premier League, I'd have signed another year. Because I'd have done that for myself. I'd have been thinking about myself. So I think when you are a local player, it was always in my mind that it's almost 50% of what you want and 50% of the club. You never feel as if it's all about you. Now, the frustration with Trent is the fact that he's a local player and he's made a decision for himself, which is fine. That's what 90% of footballers do throughout their career. But when you're a local player at Liverpool, that is not going to go down well. And what you come back to is, when I go back to this interview with Trent, when he was asked on Sky Sport, I think by Harriet, that would you rather win the Champions League or the Ballon d'Or? When he said the Ballon d'Or, that is, even if he thinks that is not the right answer, if you're a local player at Liverpool, it's like the club has to be the number one. But it was a fascinating
insight, wasn't it, into the way that his mind works.
But I think that showed Liverpool supporters, this isn't a local player who thinks about the club more than himself. It's like he's a brand, he's a unique footballer, he's fantastic.
I'm just going to ask you about Trent in a moment, but I couldn't help but notice he came up to you at half-time. He was looking for you to come off the pitch, and your little buddy there, and I mean, he was laughing at you.
Yeah, look, we've always had that. We've always been delighted for each other with assists and contributing. It's been a huge part of our game for the 8 years we've played together. And yeah, when he came up at half-time, I could see his big smile. And yeah, look, we've always had that kind of laugh and a joke with each other. And yeah, it was nice for him coming up to me for once.
And here we go, a word on him. Obviously, he had his announcement to make this week that he would be leaving at the end of the season. We heard the reaction. It's very emotional, isn't it?
Yeah, look, obviously there's a lot of emotion around it, and I think it's crucial in these moments that, you know, I don't tell you how to feel and you don't tell me how to feel about it. So all I can tell you is how I feel about it. Now, first of all, I'm disappointed to lose my best mate, and in the game we've done it all together. He's an amazing player, an amazing person. And yeah, he's made me a better player, and that's from the bottom of my heart. You know, he's took me to levels I never knew existed. He kept pushing me through the good years, and he's made a choice. So, you know, I think his legacy at this club is there for everyone to see. The trophies he's won, the moments he's had in history will always be there. And it is, of course, it's an emotional decision. And you know, Trent, you know, it's not been an easy one. You know, of course it's not. But he's made the decision. And yeah, it's not nice to see your friend, you know, get booed, and it wasn't nice. But like I says, we can't tell people how to act. But I can tell you how I feel about it. I'm extremely proud of him, of what he's done from this club. You know, I love him as a friend, I love him as a player, and you know, he'll be missed. He'll maybe be missed for me as one of my best friends in the game. So that's how I feel about it, and I'm not going to tell anyone else how to feel about it.
Wise words.
Great words.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bob on. Absolutely spot on. Yeah, and Trent will have his way of thinking, and the fans will have their way of thinking, and the manager, and everyone will. And it's not, you know, right for anybody to say, well, this is exactly how you should be feeling. I get it. I mean, you know, I've been there where Trent has been, and as I explained before, I probably one of the few people that had that exact same decision to make, from the exact same club to the exact same club, at a similar age, etc. Having been there since, you know, you were a young boy, and, you know, my only take, well, I've got loads of different views on it, you know, but my take from today is for Trent. And how he's feeling, because I felt that.
Was you surprised that they came for you, Mike, like that? Did it surprise you that when you made the decision? Did it surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit surprising and certainly disappointing and certainly gut-wrenching. Because the problem is, I think once you make that decision to go, I think people automatically assume that you don't love them anymore, or, you know, you don't care anymore and things like that. It's so far from the truth. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold will absolutely bleed red. He loves that club. But, you know, you do own, and once you're a professional footballer, it's easy for fans to say, well, that badge, you know, and they love that badge and they will never change. And of course, nor would Trent if he wasn't a player. Nor would have I. Nor would Wright. We'd all support the same team for the rest of our lives. I get that. But it's our job. It's a footballer's job. And if you get to the opportunity to play in a different country, different style of play, you know, different weather, different food, different language, at the absolute elite club in the world, it's a very hard decision. When you're, of course you're at Liverpool, but it's a very hard decision. And you only get one shot at it. You only get, you know, 12 years, a tiny part of your life as a professional footballer. And I thought, I'm sure, and evidently Trent thinks, do you know what? I'll regret not seeing something else. I've seen one thing in my life. The same stadium, the same training ground, the same people, the same everything in my life. Do I want to retire and just, you know, see nothing else, not experienced a thing? You know, it's an incredible opportunity, and he will literally go, if he's like me, he will drive to the airport crying the whole way there.
I remember you telling me that number.
I cried the whole way there, and I was gutted I was leaving. It doesn't mean that you hate the team. It means that you just, I've just got to try something else. And sadly, there's no turning back. Once you do that, Trent will probably realise there probably will be no turning back. You will not come to Liverpool. In fact, by the time you finished at Madrid, you won't be the same player anymore. And Liverpool, you almost don't want Liverpool to see you're not as good as you were. That's how I felt. That's how I comforted myself afterwards, thinking, do you know what? You know, if I'd gone back when I was 28 or 30 or something, they wouldn't have seen the real Michael. When I was 18, 19, they wouldn't have seen me anyway. So I comfort myself thinking, well, at least my team and my heart got to see the best of me. And that's how I comfort myself to this day. But there'll be so many emotions going through his head now, and he'll be so upset. If he's anything like I was, his family will be consoling him, his friends, and it's just really, really sad. And I hated it, and I'm sure he is as well.
So when he came on and when he got the first touch and when we heard what we heard, because as you say, he is one of them. His song is, he's the Scouser in the team. Would he have been anticipating this in any way, shape or form?
I think so. I think he would have been dreading it in a certain way, thinking that this could happen. He's not stupid. He sees the news. He reads social media probably. He reads, you know, the press and watches television. And he probably was bracing himself.
That's his first touch.
Yeah, well, you can see the real proper Liverpool fans who love him tried to drown them out. But I think what we saw with him was a little bit of his quality, where there's some of his balls, he just looks like in his mind there. When you look at his face here, I think somebody comes over, tries to put his arm up. I saw it before. I think it was Diaz trying. He pulled his arm away because I think that he's gone into, right, if that's how you feel, I'm out. He looks like that. His face is that I'm out. I've tried to celebrate when he scored that goal the other week and tried to show them how much he loved them, but they showed exactly what they think of him right now. And I think he's just absolutely devastated.
Do you
Pointed
think
out his
the last we
family
see of
there.
him at Anfield? Do you think
I don't know.
Do you think he'll come on in the Palace game after what?
He'll probably want to. He'll probably feel as if he needs to, but possibly the manager shouldn't allow him to. I don't know. It's a good question. I think they've got to sit down and have a good think about that. You don't want to drag him through booze for a game and things like that. You saw him pointing to his family there. He'll be closer to them than ever now, thinking, I need you right now. They'll be upset. He'll be upset. He's got to be careful as well that he's got to just remember all the good times, and that 95% of Liverpool fans still do love him. They're just upset that what's happening, it's still raw, etc. And he's just got to try to get that out of his mind. In fact, it's virtually impossible. I didn't do it great. I still don't do it great. But he's got to try to just think, do you know what? They did love me deep down. They do love me. It's just a way of showing their frustration, or however he computes it. I don't know how you can compute it because I'm useless at it to this day. You know, I put up so many barriers now, whether I go to the stadium, when I'm reading social media, whatever I'm doing, I've got so many coping mechanisms now. When you love something and they don't love you back, or you feel as if they don't love you back, and then you go through all the things you did for that team and the blood, sweat and tears and the things you won and the people you made happy, and then you think, and you don't love me. It's heartbreaking, and it really is. And I just hope that he can find a coping mechanism after this, especially if he gets booed in the next couple of games as well, and he would have read all the nasty comments. I just hope, you know, because at the moment he's probably thinking, do you know what, done with you, I'm going to Madrid, and I've got to clear you out my mind because I don't want that negative energy. And I don't know what the answer is, because as I say, I've been rubbish at it.
Yeah, and your insight's fantastic, but obviously the slight difference is you returned as a visiting player expecting a wonderful reception, you didn't quite get it. He's still a Liverpool player, playing for Liverpool there.
Yeah, but like I say...
Right, so you've got experience of it. I mean, you left a club that you did great for, Crystal Palace right at the end. And you know,
and the thing is, Mike, is that, like I was saying to you, no matter how much you tried to tell the story about what they've done and how the move came about and how I never ever initiated a move or tried to instigate a move. It literally happened over a weekend. And by the time Monday came, I was an Arsenal player. And when I went home that night, it was daubed on my mum's wall, Judas, stuff like that. Then the Palace fans, when I went, they were singing terrible songs, and I think, where has this come from? I got to Palace in '85, and we only got better every year to the fight. We went to the FA Cup final, didn't quite work out for us. We finished third in the league. You know, everything was, and I was surprised when I went back there that they booed me like they did. Now, their problem as well is because they know I've got a massive affinity with Arsenal, and that came from David Rocastle. Now, David Rocastle supported Palace when we was all younger on the estate, and I supported Arsenal because David was there as a youngster, and the whole estate supported Arsenal, so that's where that came from. But they seem to think just because I went to Arsenal and I said I wanted to leave to go and win things, I did go and win things, and I just think that they couldn't accept that. They can't accept it. They want to dislike you because they're capable of being able to dislike you. But I'm happy with everything I've done for Palace. When we got their second division, brought them to the first division, left them in a great place, and then I went on and it worked out exactly how I wanted it to work out for me at Arsenal, because I was able to go to a place where they can give me that. But you can't dwell on what they're thinking, because the love you've got for them will never, ever leave you. It will never leave me, what Palace. Palace think for some reason I don't like them no more because I'm all loved up with us. I adore Crystal Palace. I speak to Steve Parish every week on the results. We just have a text message, because that's what they mean to me. I don't need to explain that to them, because there's generations of Palace fans that I know what they think of me. I don't want to flex or anything, but they voted me the player of their century. It doesn't get any bigger than that. So no matter what they say to me or what they do, where they boo, whatever. I went to Fulham the other day, they were brilliant. I don't know what they're going to be like when I go to Wembley. But the fact is I know that I gave them everything. And that's what Trent is, giving them everything, and they've won as well.
Every single trophy.
Every single thing you can get from a football club for their fans, Trent's giving it to them. And so you think to yourself, if you cannot be satisfied with what I've given for it, then that's on you. He's got to move on with happiness as well.